In a certain town long ago, there lived an old man and his grandmother, who had been making shoes since their youth. When they were young, they could make shoes from morning till night without getting tired. But nowadays, they could only make a few pairs a day, and if they could make one pair, they would turn on a lamp when it was dark due to rain or clouds. And it was considered a success. The old man's skills were good, but his work was not in line with the fashions of the time. So even if they made shoes and put them on display in the shop, they didn't sell, and both the old man and the grandmother lived a hard life. Then one day, they finally reached a point where they would run out of leather to make the next pair of shoes if they made this many. These will be my last shoes. So I'll work hard to make these last shoes into good ones. Thinking this, the old man began to carefully cut the leather according to the pattern. As expected, it took time, and it was getting dark. And even after he finally finished cutting the leather, he couldn't thread the needle and start sewing, so he decided to continue tomorrow. He carefully arranged the cut leather on the desk at his workplace, and went to eat the dinner that his grandmother had prepared. The next morning, when the grandfather went to his workplace, he was surprised. There, he found a pair of shoes, beautifully sewn together from the leather he had cut the day before. The grandfather called out to his grandmother, and was impressed by the careful workmanship, which was very sturdy and durable, and also incorporated the latest trends. I'm sure these will sell for a good price. Thank you, thank you. But who on earth would buy them? I wonder who it is. Just as the grandfather had expected, the shoes were bought by a gentleman that same day for a surprisingly good price. He used the money to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes, carefully cut the leather again. And as it was getting dark, he arranged the leather on the desk and left the workplace. The next morning, when they went to the workshop, they found that, just like the day before, they had made 2 pairs of beautiful shoes. One for a young lady and one for a stylish gentleman. And once again, they sold both pairs for a good price. The old man was surprised and happy, but he took the money and went out to buy 4 pairs of leather again, and as soon as he returned, he carefully cut the leather into the shape of shoes and left the workshop again. As expected, the next morning, cute children's shoes, chic ladies' shoes, sturdy work shoes, and light shoes that looked easy to walk in were all finished. This happened every day, so the old man and the old woman could no longer just be happy. And they wanted to know who was doing all this for them. So, they decided to leave the workshop for the night, and sneak a peek into the workshop again in the middle of the night. When the clock in the workshop struck 12, they saw something moving where they had placed the cut leather. Miraculously, it lit a lamp without oil, illuminating the surroundings, but to their surprise, they found 2 naked dwarfs standing there. The old man and old woman were both shocked. The dwarfs sang, "Work, work, make good shoes, we are shoe fairies. We'll make shoes for our hard-working grandfather until morning." As they sang, they quickly sewed the leather together, shaped the shoes with small mallets, and finally polished the shoes, creating a wonderful pair of shoes in no time. Then, when the shoes were completely finished, the 2 dwarfs put out the lamp and disappeared into the twilight. That was just beginning to be marked by sunrise. They sat at the table in silence, gazing at the shoes the dwarfs had made for a long time, until suddenly, the old woman said, "Hey Grandpa, weren't those two dwarfs naked?" "Yes, they were. They were called shoe fairies. I wonder if they don't feel cold. I'll make little clothes for them today. They look cold after all." "Yeah, that's a good idea. Then I'll make little shoes for them." The two of them immediately started making little clothes and shoes. And that night they quietly placed them on the table in place of the cut-up leather. The two of them looked into the workshop from the shadows of the door again. When the clock struck 12, the dwarfs came in, lit up the lamp that had run out of oil, and were surprised to see the clothes and shoes on the table. They quickly put on the shirt and pants that the old woman had made, the cute vest, and tried on the leather shoes that the old man had made. They were so happy that they linked arms with each other, and started skipping, singing, and dancing. "These are lovely clothes and great shoes. We are the shoe fairies, and thank you to the hard-working grandfather and the skilled sewing grandmother for the presents you gave us. We will treasure them, thank you." The grandfather and grandmother were very happy, and the dwarfs left the workshop, singing and dancing, never to be seen again. However, the shoes that the grandfather made continued to sell. So the grandfather and grandmother lived happily ever after.